Hello, this is Tomi Koivusaari from Amorphis, and you're watching RichardMetalFan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Episode 356 of Richard Metal Fan Interviews, calling from Zoom, and I'm here with Tomi Koivusaari, founding member of Amorphis, and he also plays with Abhorrence, Viren Pisera, and also has a solo gig, Bjorko. So, how are you doing today, Tomi? It is so great to be able to talk to you today.
Hey, great to talk with you. I'm doing good. We are on tour in Europe right now with Arch Enemy and Elevate and Kate Creeper with Amorphis, and so far so good. We've been on tour like 10 days now, and still have like 4 weeks to go.
Yeah,
Right
so
now in Prague.
how has the tour been? The most typical interview question ever, as I always say.
Yeah, well, very smooth and nice. We knew the all the band members like before this tour. We have toured together, except Kate Creeper, but that's very nice new friends and great bands, and so far so good. And there's been a lot of audience, and things are going to starting to roll a little bit.
That's great. So, kind of the format of the show is I want to talk about like your musical history and do a speed run of your discography, but take you back to young Tommy. So, growing up in Finland, what were the first bands that got you into metal? What made you want to start playing guitar?
Well, the very first one was Wasp. When I saw the I Wanna Be Somebody video from Sky Channel. I was like 11 and I was hooked right away. So uh, I wanted to have a electric guitar after that, and we formed our like very first band like quite soon after that. And we formed the first band with Jan Rehberger, who's playing
Yeah,
drums in Amorphis as well.
yeah,
So
Violent
we
Solution.
were neighbors. So oh yeah, but before that we have like different names, and because we were still like we have the Animals was the first name we had, but that was the very first what got me into like heavy music, and
Yeah.
then it started to be heavier and heavier.
Yeah, because you started playing guitar at 12 and then you formed Violent Solution in 87. So, how did you get to know like Jan?
We were living close together, like we were almost neighbors, and there wasn't too many friends like who were into like metal music or playing. So I heard just rumors that this guy is maybe playing something, and we just started to hang up and change some records, and started the band and making our own songs, if you can call it. It was quite awful stuff back in the days, I guess. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you did that first demo, Disorder of Composure. Tell me about like that. Was that something to just just hand around to people over in Finland just to get the name about?
Yeah, I think that was actually our second demo with Violent Solution. That was the time when we started a little bit like get interested about bands like well, Metallica, and some more like a little bit, yeah, speed thrash, Slayer kind of stuff. And I remember the very first song of the demo. It has something like 28 different riffs, and that's because we just had the riffs coming, and we had a like demo session next day, so we didn't want to do like fourth song or anything like that. We just were adding the parts to the one song. So
Yeah.
that was like that, yeah.
Yeah,
But we
that
were like 87, yeah. I was 14, and that's how you were like
yeah.
didn't know that much about arranging stuff.
Yeah. And then going into 1990, you started up Abhorrence. You did those did like that first demo, Vulgar Necrolatry. Tell me about that because I think that's just fucking brutal. Like, where was that recorded at?
I think we recorded in Nurmijärvi, like little outside from Helsinki. There was some like cheap studio, and I guess we did it in one day. And yeah, that was like I got to death metal at some point when playing in Violent Solution, and so I quit the Violent Solution, and we formed this Abhorrence, and that was the first demo, and that was really the first band to me which actually started to have like some like real listeners, and we got some nice gigs and concerts. So
Yeah. And I know that same year you did a NOE Panic with Once You'll Die Anyway. Like
mm,
I'm digging deep. Like nobody ever talks about this stuff.
yeah. Well, I haven't heard it. That Mika Arnkil, who's playing in Impaled Nazarene right now, bass. He is my like childhood friend as well. He was living my neighbor, and we had these strange projects when we were locked down to like some cabin place and with the studio equipments, and we were just deciding to do some project, and No Panic is one of them. But I haven't heard the tape like since it was done. So we
Oh,
always
wow.
talk with talk with Mika that someday we will have the session and we will listen to it.
Yeah. And some other bands I was always curious that was also listed on your page on Metal Archives is Jambor, Carouseli, and Rebirth. I'm always curious about that because
Mm.
I can't find any info about any of those bands.
Well, Jambor was a band we formed with Santeri and Niklas, who were in Amorphis as well. And that was more like there was one club nearby where we lived in Helsinki, and they just asked like if you wanna have some jam band or something, and you could come to play. And we had a free time at the time because that was times when Pasi left Amorphis and we were looking for a new singer. So we had free time, so we just formed the band, which was like very free jamming, and we had some structures of the songs maybe, but mainly it was just free jamming for friends. And Carousel was also that was there was different. It was quite big band. It was more like 70s, not Schlager stuff. That's wrong word, but something like old 70s songs and also some own songs. And the singer was Ville Tuomi, who used to be in Kyria and Leningrad Cowboys, and later on Suburban Tribe. And that was fun project, but they were like very therapeutic projects, and we never like did any like release like proper albums or anything like that.
All right. And then tell me about like forming Amorphis because the band formed in 1990, 35 years. So congrats on 35 years of Amorphis. So how'd you get to know like because you already played with Jan, but how'd you get to know like Essa and Opu and everybody at the time?
Well, yeah, it was funny because when I leave Violent Solution to form Abhorrence, Esa was joining to Violent Solution to replace me. So they continued Violent Solution, and of course, Oppo we did. There was a very small the scene of like people who were hanging out like in weekends and were like metalheads, and so we knew Oppo from that, and it was same time when Abhorrence was some of the Abhorrence members started to like study that much, so Abhorrence was like leaving behind a little bit, and it didn't feel like so inspirational anymore. So same time, Violent Solution decided to quit, and Jan and Esa wanted to form a new band, like death metal band or something, and they asked me to join that and Oppo as well. So it was just like that,
Yeah.
and here we are still. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. 35 years of Amorphis, Tommy. Like, did you think that the band would be
Mm.
around for 3.5 decades?
No, never. Because at that age, you think like 30 years old people are like old. You know, when you're like 17, and you feel like you'll never get old yourself, and of not really. But it's fun also the fact that still four original members are in a band right now. So
Yeah.
that's also uh,
Yeah.
very
And
nice, one nice
and what
thing.
keeps you guys still like going, like the main four after like so long?
Mm. Well, I think it's we respect each other, and we are like still good friends. We are not like just working together. I think we're still like very good friends, and we have fun together. So, and we don't fight, uh, at least not like physically. So, I think the good spirit is like the key to have this kind of long career.
Yeah. But tell me about like that first demo, Discman of Soul. I think it was a really great demo. I managed to find like a copy and be online, and currently on my way. So where was that recorded at?
That was recorded by Timo Tolkki, the Stratovarius guitar player, and we knew him as well because, well, Helsinki is not like that big, so I think we knew him by Arki, Mikael Arnkil, the Impel Nazaren bass player. And at some point we were in same home parties and stuff like that, and he formed the studio and he wanted to have a band very cheap because he wanted to rehearse and practice the recording and mixing and skills. So we were one of the first customers there. But there was huge disagreements about the sounds because we wanted it to sound like crappy, and he had like very new expensive guitar rack there, and he wanted us to use that, but we didn't want to because it sounded too clear and too like nice. We wanted to have it like brutal and dirty sound. So, but after all, it turned out what it turned out. But yeah, that was the only demo we ever did.
Yeah, and then you started playing around like Helsinki and Finland and stuff, and then you got signed to Relapse Records, and you put out your first album in '92, The Carillion Isthmus. I love this album. Like, in my opinion, one of the most underrated like death metal debut albums of all time. So, what was sort of like the whole thought process going into making like the debut full length Amorphis album?
Uh, to us, that was like we never knew if this will be just the only album we'll never like release because you never know. And we were thinking that okay, nice, we will have a one album at least when we are like grandfathers in our like living room. And but after this album, I think we started to like looking for even more like being how to be like unique and not trying to copy our own heroes that much. And but that was good practice because that was the first time we went to like Sweden to proper studio and
Yeah.
not just demo studio. So we learned a lot about like how the album things are going.
Yeah, was that like the first time like leaving Finland, and what was your like impression? Be like, this place is different than Finland.
Uh, well, Stockholm is like just one ferry between Helsinki and Stockholm, so that's probably the first place where everyone who lives in Helsinki are going to if you go to other countries. So we knew Stockholm somehow, but we went there and we were there like 2 weeks, and of course we knew Thomas Skogsberg, who was been working with Entombed and Dismember and all the classical stuff. So we wanted to like have him to do this, and it was great that Relapse was like open to this idea as well.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was a fun experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived in some cabin somewhere and 2 weeks and
Yeah. Did you start like touring outside of Finland for the first time with this album?
not yet. After this one, we were just doing some Finnish shows, and I think it was Tales from the Thousand Lakes was the
Yeah.
first one
Yeah. Should
when
get
we
there in a
started to
sec.
tour. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know, but no, in between that, you did the Privilege of Equal EP, which I heard initially was going to be like a split with Incantation, but for some reason you decided to do y'all separately. I mean, I've had Yan and Opu on the show before, but I don't think they remember what the reason was to just do you all separately. But I'm just wondering if you remember the reason.
Uh, I think to us we were just like waiting when it's gonna happen, and it never happened. And then Relapse said that let's do a whole album at once, and we never got the explanation. But I heard from one Finnish journalist. I don't know if this is true, but that he was interviewing Incantation guy who said that they were thinking that our part was too good to be split. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I heard.
Oh yeah. But then
But
going into Tales from the Thousand Lakes, I love this album. This is my opinion, a masterpiece. My favorite Amorphous album, the album that got me into you guys. So did you feel like you guys were onto something making this album?
uh, I think because we we were thinking that this is going to flop or this is going to be a big thing, and we didn't know, of course, what means the big thing. But the main thing was that we didn't want to have any kind of gates or we didn't want to think that we have to be some kind of band to make music, but we can take the influences from everywhere and being unique. And we also started to love a lot of 70s progressive bands. So that was the idea for having analog synths in the album and like Moogs and Hammonds and things like this. So I think that it made it like that special
Yeah.
back in the days.
Yeah, and what was like the touring like? Did you start like touring outside of like Finland for the first time in time, like you mentioned, and then did you also like toured in the States for the first time, I believe, with this record, right?
Yeah, at first we had like a European tour headlining, and there was a Desultory and Haggard uh, guest as a guest bands, and that was like 2 weeks. And when we were on tour, we got called that Disharmonic Orchestra cancelled the long tour with Entombed in the States, and we should live there like 3 weeks after the first tour. So we said like yes, of course, because Entombed was big influence to us, of course, and we loved the band. So yeah, then that was '94.
Yeah.
We were traveling like 7 weeks in a small van and following Entombed and playing. That was a good lesson for tour life as well, because that's last time we did a van tour. After
Yeah.
that, we have had like decent buses.
Yeah, still like my opinion, my favorite album. I would love to see this live. I had a chance to see this in 2020. We were going to do a tour in the States, but sadly that got canceled. But I'm hoping like
Mm.
because I know you're doing the 70,000 tons of metal cruise early next year. I'm hoping you could do one set where you play this bad boy start to finish.
Oh yeah, yeah. If it's up to me, yeah. I think someday we were gonna do that, and I think we did that in the Maryland Death Fest once as well. And yeah, as you said, we were supposed to have a tour with Entombed AD with this album like a few years ago, but then COVID hit
Yeah,
and
and I was so heartbroken.
LTDs. Now, yeah, yeah, yeah. But maybe someday. I don't know about the 70,000 tons yet, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yep. Then moving on to Elegy. Love this album. It's sort of like a next evolution in the Amorphis sound. You got Posy in the band. So what was, did you feel like what was it like kind of like going from like this to this? It's kind of hard to describe. It's like a almost listening to a different band with this album.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were like so excited that when I think because we were doing what we wanted as in Tails, so we were like thinking that okay, we really can do everything we want, and so the progressive elements were coming like yeah, more focused, and also we had like new keyboard player and drummer and in the album, and I also had a posse to make clean vocals, which has like so much more opportunities to us, like making music, not just growling, but also have like vocal melodies. So yeah, it was so different that some fans were quite shocked, I guess, at the times, but it's still, I think it was like mostly liked album, and I still like the album. I love the sounds and everything. It's different. That sounds kind of fresh after Tales.
Yeah. And then Tunella, I thought was a great sequel. It's almost kind of like I would consider these two kind of like part one and part two too. And of course you also got Sensory on in the band with this album, although he was like a session member. So how did he end up working with Amorphis?
Uh, Kim, the keyboard player who came to Elegy album, kind of disappeared at some point, and we just couldn't reach him, and we started to make new stuff, and I think it was more a little bit more guitar orientated, and we were listening a lot of like stoner bands at the time, and like some psychedelic rock bands like Monster Magnet, things like this. So it was changing again a little bit the style, and we knew Sander because we have had like few gigs together with his bands, and there wasn't actually too many keyboard players who are playing metal in the Helsinki area. So we asked Sander to join the Amorphis, but at the time he didn't because he still had the own band running. But right after that, the band was broken, so he joined to Amorphis as a full member.
Yeah. And one thing I thought that was interesting, like this was actually the first album that was added to the Metal Archives. I know like Amorphis was also the first band to be on that site. So does that kind of make you feel special in a way?
Well, yeah, I heard it somewhere, but yeah, that sounds great. I appreciate that kind of things.
Nice. And then moving on to Am Universum, another great album. Like tell me about this because I think this is a very underrated Amorphis album.
Mm. Well, that was like, I think the song material isn't that strong than we had in Tuonela, but in Tuonela we tried this like saxophone and flute things, so we wanted to have that kind of elements more to band. But I still like the mood, overall mood of the album, but there isn't actually any songs we still play live, like except Alone uh, sometimes. So yeah, but it's a little bit strange albums, and it kind of some fans like it and some fans don't.
Yeah. And then going into 2002, you did Varen Pissera. Tell me about that because I know you did that first album and a Mundo Taja. Tell me
Now
about
the
that.
connection is, I didn't hear. The connection sucks. So
Yeah,
can
hang
you
on.
repeat?
Yeah, sure. Then going into 2002, you started up Varen Pissera, and then you did that one, the first album, A Mundo Taja. I probably butchered that. So, how did the idea come to be to form that band?
That was Santeri's idea originally. I think he had done some music with Rami, the singer, and he asked me to join as a guitar player and Niku as a bass player. So it was at the times when Amorphis has quieter moments, like didn't have too many gigs, so we just decided to do something. So we started to do that, and that was fun because in the same times there was starting to be a lot of like more heavier bands singing in Finnish in Finland. So that was like perfect time to do something like that, and it was nice experience, and I like the album still, and I think we have like fifth albums material being already like 10 years, but we just never went to the studio, but maybe someday we will do that.
Yeah, and then
Never know.
that same year you did Velcro. You did the Consequences of Disobedience. I thought that's a very underrated band. It's very industrial sounding. Like you were kind of busy, Tommy. Like how did you manage to like balance all that stuff during that time?
Well, that was the only thing I was focused, and only thing I was doing, and it's yeah, it seems like yeah. Sometimes I think I had like five different bands same time, but it's just they were all like a little bit different. So I have like to this band I have used like this guitar, and I think I could separate it like very well. But nowadays it feels impossible to have it, and afterwards when I got like a family and kids and stuff like that, it went of course harder to find the time for everything I wanted to do.
Yeah. Then going into 2003, you did the next Varen Passero album, Haposadeta. I like that. Like, especially with all the songs like are unfinished, that has to be almost like in a way kind of like personal.
Well, it's Rami who's writing the lyrics, and his singer. He's very like deeply uh, with his stuff. Like he's kind of poetry guy. So yeah, the lyrics are not like happy things. It's more like people's like dark sides kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah. Then that same year, 2003, you did the next Amorphis album, Far From the Sun. I love this album. Like tell me about this because I consider similar to like Am Universum. I think this is a very overlooked album.
I think Yeah, I think it could have been better made because at that time Pasi was a little struggling with his problems, the singer, and we wanted to have this like prepare. I think the songs are still very good, but the vocal work is not like what we were looking for. So that was Pasi's last album as well, and
Yeah.
same time we tried to have a new record deal with the EMI, and that didn't work at all. So that was like to us that was like very dark times in a way. But there's some moments in that album, I guess.
Yeah, like Days of Your Beliefs is a
But also
great
same
opener.
same
Opener
yeah.
also like Evil
There's good
Inside,
songs.
great songs.
Yeah, there is. But at the same time, I think as a band we didn't know like what we are doing. Like we didn't have a after like Universum that was so different. So we didn't actually know what kind of music we are like even trying to do. But in a way, that's a good thing maybe as like when you don't have any boundaries. But I think after that it started like new era to us, Amorphis.
Yeah. But then still jump into 2005, you did the next Varen Pissera album being Rit to Likaku Kadu. Tell me about that one because I know this year does mark 20 years of that album. So how do you feel about that album now 20 years later?
Yeah, I think that's one of the best Verenpisar albums we made, I guess. Because first one we were more having this like 70s kind of style, like rocky sound, and but with this album, I think we like admitted to be like playing like heavy style and having like heavier sounds, and I think that fit to Verenpisar very well.
Yeah. And also that same year did the next Velcro album, Between Force and Fate. Did you feel like you wanted to try something different than you did on the first album,
Uh, with Verenpisar.
Velcro?
Oh, Velcro. Velcro was like I was just there for a while because I knew that Joona very well, and he asked me to join like as a live player. I didn't play in a actual album.
All right. And next Amorphous album, Eclipse. Love this album. First album with Tomi Yoltz in the band. So how did he end up joining Amorphous?
Well, that was a long process. We tried to look for singers, and there was few singers trying. Actually, maybe two guys we were asking for rehearsing place, but it just didn't work too well, and we even were looking for it like public music magazines, like we are looking for a singer, and there wasn't any like we were looking for. But then my old friend, who was playing guitar and with his band, said that why don't you take our singer? And he was showing some live stuff when Tommy was singing, and I was like, okay, we can ask him, but do you really think it's okay to like steal it from you? And he was like, yeah, it's okay. And it turned out that Tommy was like Amorphis fan already, so
Oh, really?
he he knew that we are looking for a singer, but he was thinking that no, I'm not gonna make it anyway, so he didn't try it. But then I called him, and he came to rehearsing place, and from the first second we knew that this is our guy,
Hell
and he
yeah.
was.
Yeah. And how are like the fans like reacting to this album, like especially with Tommy J in the band? Like how did like the fans react to him?
I think it was positive feedback. Like at the time, we were like crawling somewhere in a muds with the band in a way, and I think that was just like so positive explosion to a band in Finland and of course overseas as well. And we signed the deal with the Nuclear Blast, and they did a great job. And we had like new management, a new booking agent. Everything started like from the clean table. So to us, it felt like really like a new start, and also first time we started to like look for what we have done and what's the good about the like things we have done before, so we can also use ourselves like as an influence.
Yeah.
So we
That's
had a crawling things back and so on.
cool. And then that same year in 2006, you played on a Jar Tara's album, A Pair. So tell me about that project because it's like really just heavy like black metal and stuff. How did you get involved with that album?
Well, yeah, as you know, it's a Basis and our former Amorphis singers like own band, and he asked me like in a very beginning to join as like a live guitarist, and I did, and so I think I only was in one album. Was it? I can't remember which I was playing in a studio, but that was fun because it's so primitive stuff, and I really liked the band, and but at some point that turned out like little catastrophic as well with Pussy, and
Yeah.
that's sad because that was a great band.
Yeah. Then next Amorphous album, Silence Waters. Really like this album. Kind of a quick turnaround from Eclipse. Like it came out like a year later. Did you start writing for this right after Eclipse came out?
Yeah, we were actually thinking once that how we managed to do that because we were touring like hell, like after Eclipse, and still we managed to go to studio. But I think we felt like we have to be like very productive now when Eclipse is out, and we had started kind of like have to start from the beginning in a way. Like we have to prove that we are still like a uh, present band and things like this. So I can't remember how these songs were made, but probably we had something like in our hard drives or something. But yeah, but felt like very inspirated at the time, so
Yeah.
songs were just happening.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot darker compared to Eclipse. You can even tell like the album artwork, it's kind of dark and stuff, but also has I guess the hints of the like the lightness with the little like looks like a swan or something on the cover.
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah. It is a little, yeah. I guess so. Yeah, because we just find out these old things like we had influences back. So I think we just kind of felt like we have a permission to make like harder songs as well now. It's very hard to analyze, but that's what I think.
Yeah. And then moving on to Skyforger. I like love this album. I feel like it's kind of like the opposite of Silent Waters. So how do you feel about this album?
Well, yeah, maybe we felt afterwards like Silent Waters was a little bit like some uh, what some like album which is like leading us to somewhere but not yet there kind of thing. So with Skyforger, I think the melodies find again the places, and we also had some like flutes there, and we were very like inspired at the time because we had like this thing going on very nicely, and we touring together and playing a lot together as a band. So that was very like I think that's great album to me as well.
Yeah, like every
It's
song
very
on
like every kind of styles.
Yeah, like every song on here sounds different. Like the opening track, Sampo, is very melodic, but then going into Silver Bride, which is very blistering, and Sky is Mine is very dreamlike. So with this album, I feel like you almost pull like different styles and influences with this album, but it
Mm,
doesn't like disrupt the flow. It sort of like flows very evenly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so too. That's very
Yeah.
strong one.
And then next up is you did this Magic and Mayhem Tales from the Early Years, which is like a bunch of
Mm.
re-recordings of some older songs. So, how'd the idea come to be to sort of like do like a bunch of re-recordings?
Well, that was I personally I don't like if bands are making like new versions because it always misses the mood or the atmosphere of the original ones, and we didn't want to do it with this as well. But the only reason we did this was because we got so much new fans after Tommy joined, and we still were playing the old stuff in our shows, and we were thinking that some of the fans don't even know these songs, so we wanted to like redo some of the stuff like just for fun
Yeah.
to, with Tomi Joutsen and see what it's gonna uh, sound like when we are doing it now. So that was the idea, and also I think we had some like spare time at the moment. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
haven't heard that like after it was released, but it might sound a little bit more like how we sound nowadays when we're doing those songs live.
yeah, I especially love how you did like vocals on Castaway, Way, Sign from the North Side, and even made Drown Made. So what was it like, kind of like singing again? Because I know on the early albums you did a lot of the harsh vocals. So what was it like singing on those songs?
Uh, Doing it in that record, I'm not sure,
I think you only
or
did it
is
on
Tommy?
like a few songs.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I still do like some harsh vocals in on live shows because we have some things when Tommy is singing now, like there's two vocals uh, same time, so I still do it live, but yeah, I don't do that on studio that much anymore because I don't. I think Tommy has a lot of stronger voice than I do.
Yeah.
Mine is more like whispering if you compare it to Tommy's voice.
Yeah. Then moving on to the beginning of times, I like this album. I feel like it's kind of like another evolution in the Amorphous sound. So, what was the recording like for this album?
Uh, well, that was I don't know if what we were thinking of the Skyfogger, but yeah, I think that's again like a little bit more progressive, if you could say, and there's like a lot of different kind of songs, but still, I think the overall mood is darker than Skyforger had, and there isn't actually too many songs we still play live, I guess. So I don't know what happened to them, but it's always difficult if you have like 15 albums out and you cannot
Yeah.
play like 5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, like with so many albums that you have out, like how hard is it to like put like a set list together? Because there's gotta be those diehard fans that want like the raw cut from like the Discman of
Mm.
Soul demo.
Well, yeah, it's impossible, and we don't disagree with the band ever. The set list, we just have to decide something, and we tried it to be like a little bit from there and there, but always, of course, if we are having a new album out, we try to focus a little bit more to that album, and then some old stuff and some like best of stuff as well, because sometimes we didn't play like Black Winter Day, and we were thinking that nobody cares, but then we heard so much like critic about it that
Yeah, be like, what the
we
fuck?
didn't
You didn't
play
play
that.
my
So
favorite song.
we feel like, yeah. But you never. It's impossible to please everyone. We know,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. Then moving on to Circle, I love this album. One of the best of modern amorphous sounding albums. So what was this album all about?
Well, that was when we tried to like first time to have a producer. Like we never had a like proper producer before actually. And so we asked Peter Tigran because we have known him since 90s. We toured with Hypocrisy, and once in a while we were seeing each other somewhere in tour or festivals, and we were always having a conversation that it would be nice that he would produce our album, and he wanted to do it. And so we went to his studio in Sweden, and yeah, it's really different, and he did great job. It sounds like different than ever did
Yeah.
as Amorphis, and it was fun session. Peter is a great guy, and
Yeah. He produced a
but
lot of great
he
albums.
didn't. Oh yeah, he has. He's very professional and like dedicated what he's doing. So yeah, that's a great album.
Yeah, yeah, like with that, like that Abyss studio, like there needs to be like a documentary about that place because so many great albums have been made there, and I would love to hear more about like the origins of that place, like how like the whole everything, because I heard it's a legendary place.
Mm. Yeah, it is. And well, we also did some recordings in Finland as well. I remember. I think we just did drums in his place, and then he came to Finland for a few weeks, I guess, and we were doing it in a couple of different studios, and yeah.
Yeah, and then Under the Red Cloud. Love this album. This was actually the album I discovered Amorphis on. Like I was sort of like a late boomer when it came to discovering you guys, but then ever since then I kind of went back into the other stuff. But tell me about this album, because how do you feel about this album now, like 10 years later?
Well, that's great album. That feels like kind of same thing that Skyforger was like 10 years, not 10, but few years earlier, because then we had a Jens Bogren as producer, and he was like producer with the big letter. So we went to Sweden again and to Jens Bogren's studios, and uh, we never met like producer like him because he was very strict about everything, like the tuning and strings. You have to change strings 2 times between one song take, and also he was very detailed about the song tempos and arrangements and what tune they are on. So that was different to us, and we were working hard. Like we had like 12 hours days, and sometimes I was already went to sleep, and at 2 o'clock in the morning he was waking me up to play one thing, and like that was like he had a whip in a way. But we like to work with him, so that's why we did the next albums with him as well.
Yeah. But going into 2018, before you did the next Amorphis album, you started up Abhorrence. You did the EP Megalahydrolithophilasophic. I can never say that
Me
title.
neither.
So tell me about making that. So how'd the idea come to be to start up Abhorrence again? Because the Abhorrence went on kind of like a breakup for many years, but how did the idea come to be to start the band back up again?
Well, we were friends from the childhood. We used to like hang out as and when we formed the band, we were like best friends with Abhorrence, and then it split up, but we were still seeing each other like then and then, and I think it was just some parties we were like gathered to remember like the Abhorrence things, and then we had this idea to why not to make like a few gigs together, and it was fun, so we decided to. Svart wanted to put out this compilation vinyl and CD. So I think that was actually the first what made us do the shows as well. But after that, we decided to like, why don't we like try to do some new stuff as well, which is not very easy because we wanted it to be like as primitive as it used to be, like when we were doing the first demos and EPs, and we were like 15, 16 years old. So just to have to have this mental state, and you don't start to too much arrange the songs or too much produce the song like so it should be like some good for radio or
Yeah.
anything like that. So that was the thing, that song comes how it is, and it will be like that. So hard to explain, but we still have like kind of a dream and that to make a full album someday. But
Yeah.
I think most of the songs are ready as well, and but we are busy. I'm busy with Amorphis and Valtteri Väyrynen, who is now our drummer, playing in Opeth and used to play in Paradise Lost. He's very busy as well, so it's very we don't
Yeah.
have
Gotta
too
wait for
much
the
time
stars to
together.
align.
well, well, yeah, and other guys have stage jobs, like they are busy. So
Yeah.
well, we will do it someday, maybe,
Yeah.
hopefully.
But going back to Amorphis, you got the next album, Queen of Time. Love this album. Funny enough, the first album with the current lineup that you have now. So what was it like making this album?
Well, if you, I think that was like the yeah. Jens got to know us, and we got to know Jens like in Under the Red Cloud. So it was kind of easier to start working, not like new guy. So he knew our band and how we are playing and stuff. So and we got better prepared like to his producing style. So we were like prepared that we don't have to. We kind of made the songs as ready as they can be to Jens in a way, and I think very productive time as well. There's a lot of good stuff which we'll still play.
Yeah, like The Bee is a great song. And I still love Amongst Stars. That's like one of my favorite songs featuring Anneke van Gaalsbergen. So how was it like working with her on Amongst Stars? That's still like one of my favorite Amorphous
Mm.
songs.
Yeah, great. We were like new Anneke. I think first time we met some back in 90s when she was in Gathering, and then I can't remember if she was actually invited. Yeah, I think we invited her to. We had some kind of anniversary gig in Helsinki, like special gig in a tent where was a lot of other guest musicians as well. So we invite Anneke there and to play. I think that's the. Yeah, we have released it as well, the Huvila Teltta thing, and then we had some idea that maybe we should like make a song together someday, and then we went to studio and we had Jens had some idea to make Among Stars kind of like a duetto. So Anneke was obviously first in our minds.
Yeah.
So it was great to work with her. She's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and it's great. I actually had the pleasure of seeing that song live with Anneke because I remember this album was the cycle I finally got to see you guys on. I saw you in 2018 with the homies in Dark Tranquillity and I'm Gathering on
Oh
the
yeah.
Moonspell. You did that tour. I saw you guys at the Atlanta show there, and I saw you the next time in 2019. You did that tour with Delane Lane, and Anneke did that song live with you,
Mm.
and it was kind of interesting because the last time I saw you at which was last year at Prague Power, it was quite funny. You had like NX vocals in the
Oh yeah.
playback thing. It's kind of weird hearing
Yeah.
like a disembodied voice live.
Yeah. It is. It is. And but we tried to do it like proper. Like Anneke was doing the like afterwards like singing it again and with the video and which where we had in screens, but of course it's never the live thing, but you cannot actually play that song without Annika's voice, I guess.
Yeah. Then you started touring for Queen of Time for a little bit. Then 2020, the pandemic hit, and I know it really kind of like fucked up the music industry. So during that time, did you start writing for what would become your last album, Halo?
Mm. Yeah, that we were kind of lucky because we only had plans to do, well, we had like plans to do the US tour and some anniversary gigs because there was a 30 years anniversary year with Amorphis. So we had some plans to go to Japan and Helsinki and Finland tour and things like this. But everything, of course, cancelled. But we already had like booked the studio for the was it next fall for from that to make album. So we were like prepared and we could focus it more, but Jens was produced it like from Sweden, and that was like because he couldn't come to Finland or we couldn't go to Sweden, so he was like listening the takes like in his studio and then calling like it's fine but, or not fine or something like that. But that's a little bit strange way to like if you have to like really working with like it's so intimate process in a way making music, so that was a little bit difficult. So I think it's you can hear it. It's quite like heavy or dark album in a way
Yeah.
comparing to two previous ones.
Yeah, it has a bit more of a kind of like an edge to it. Like even going like songs like Northward, It's the Moon, like even the title track has that kind of like edge to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that we couldn't like focus it like that much that we wanted to, but I still think it's very good album. But after that, we felt like now we have to do something differently again because that's what we have been done in the past as well to try
Yeah.
to clean the table and
Yeah. Then anyway, we're almost done. Going into 2023, you did sort of like a kind of like a solo kind of project, Bjorko. You did Heart Rot at the end of 2023. So how did the idea come to be to sort of like kind of like make like kind of like a solo project album?
well, I have had that kind of idea in mind like decades and but I never because I have also I think we everyone has like a lot of songs what we never gone anywhere because they're so different or something and it doesn't fit to main band or things like that. And I was thinking that, but then I started to think like what kind of direction would the album go, if it will be like death metal or if it will be a rock or whatever. So at Corona times, I just decided to like start to work with those. I have those projects in Pro Tools, and I started to work just for fun. And at some point, I had this idea: why not to like put it, put this out and as it is, like don't care about any like genres anything like that. Just put the songs which I are most like excited at the moment. And I was spending a lot of time in my like cabin in the middle of forest at Corona times, and I had a small studio there, home studio. So there wasn't actually not too much to do except playing with the music because there was like 4 hours per day sunlight, and then it was totally dark and cold. So it was fun. It was very fun and productive and inspiration, and that was kind of a way to me to survive from the like the angsty of the COVID times, like when you couldn't do anything. So I just decided to do it like when I'm turning 50, and that was my goal, and I will put something like that out.
Yeah, and it's a great
before I'm 50, but
yeah, and it's a great album. Like I love like all the guest features, like Jeff Walker from Carcass, like Marco Hetala, formerly of Nightwish, Shagrath from Dimmu Borgir, and of course your fellow bandmate Tomi Koivusaari. Like with all these different like vocal guest appearances, do you have to almost like maybe like change like how you play your guitar depending on like the different guests that you have on the album?
Mm. Yeah, I was thinking like one song at the time, and actually it was like that when I was playing with the song myself, I already had like some kind of feeling who could be perfect singer for this, and that I was lucky. Almost everyone I was asking for guest were said like yes, like Sagrat. He was not doing those guestings too often, and also uh, I knew somehow like every singer from the past, so I was very pleased and honored that they were invited, and they agreed.
Nice. And then last but certainly not least, I want to talk about the new Amorphis album, Borderland. It is absolutely kick-ass. So far, one of my favorite albums for 2025. So what was sort of like the whole writing and recording process like for Borderland?
Well, we had like 25 demos, different songs, and we normally are not start to like discuss it by ourselves because we have 6 different opinions. So we leave that to producers. So we were decided to try new producer Jacob Hansen. We have heard so much good about him from other bands. So uh, he was starting to check 25 songs out, and he chose like 12, 13 songs we actually gonna record. And then we went to Denmark, and it was nice and smooth session. That was like early January this year, and yeah, then we actually have had like 10 months break from touring, and this is like first gigs we are doing right now. So we feel like it's real like batteries charged.
Yeah, yeah, kicking the album cycle off with a bang, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but musically with this album, did you want to pick up where you left off after Halo, or with this album you wanted to try something different that Amorphis hasn't done before?
Yeah, I think we all had some idea to make it like have the melodious more back for this album, and having more like a airy sounding mixing, and like still like there's a lot of stuff, but it still is dynamic, and it got like a lot of air. It's not so muffy. So I think we all had some idea. We never know what the idea is, but some like what we are trying to do differently. And so I think this built up like a little bit more like new elements, and I think it's very band oriented
Yeah.
album still because of the like you can see we played a lot of together, and I think everyone is playing like their part like exactly how it should be.
Yeah, and I definitely noticed like a difference between this album and Halo. I feel like there's always like an amorphous sound to it, but I do think with Borderland, I feel like it's a bit more catchy.
Mm. Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, nothing wrong to be catchy, I, I guess, if it's like not the main thing of the thing. So yeah, I think but last album Halo was a little bit maybe too dark and heavy at the times, like in a way. So comparing that to Borderland, I think that's much more like feels like fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course the album has now been out now for over a month now. Like, how's the overall like reception and feedback been?
Well, the reviews I've seen, they are mainly very good. Of course, not everyone can love everything, but yeah, so far the response has been good, and especially in gigs here, like when we play a couple of songs every night, I think the audience is like getting going like crazy on those songs, so they seem to like it as well. So.
Yeah, and talking about sort of like the flow of the album, like this, like one of the singles, Light and Shadow, has a very different tone from the song like Bones, because like I know with like every album that you've done, like there's always like a different like variety, and like different like moods with every song. Like, how do you sort of like approach like the variety on Borderlands or like with any of the previous like Amorphis albums?
Well, I think there's a lot of Santeris songs, and he's doing very melodic stuff, and he always have like think about the arrangements like very uh to almost final, and also like have the couple SS songs which are more moody and more like heavy and having more melancholic elements, but. I think overall this is having the melancholic thing going on all over the album, but still in some way some of the songs are I don't know the word, but they have like more or happier is not the right word, but well different kind of melodies we ever had, in my opinion. It's more
Yeah.
like maybe it's the catchy catchiness what I'm like looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, and of course, like I was mentioning before, like you guys have been around for 5 years, 5 years. Is there still like a bucket list goal for like you personally be like, man, wouldn't it be awesome if we did that?
Mm. Well, we don't actually have any like big dreams or expectations. We are very happy where we are now, and just we are happy if this can continue a little bit longer, and we can do this, and we are healthy, and we're still are trying to do our best album like every time we are going to studio, and we don't want to be a band who's just playing the old stuff and going to tour, just releasing album just to get it on tour, but not playing the songs. So we still are focusing forward, but we don't have like any unrealistic dreams. What we're thinking about.
Yeah. And so kind of like also in the end to sort of wrap things up, what's next for Morphus? I know you're currently on tour right now with Arch Enemy and Elvady. Do you just anything else with Borderlands you would also like to plug in terms of tours and stuff? And when can we expect you guys to come rocking in the USA?
Hopefully soon. There is nothing is like confirmed yet, but we have some plans to come to US. Maybe next fall, but it's unofficial in a way because no dates yet. And also having a headlining tour in Europe, and also have some discussions about the Asia and Australia, and a lot of summer shows in all over Europe. So we will be busy, I guess.
Yeah.
But next spring will be a little bit not that tight, but well, we have 70,000 tons of metal
And I will see
in
you there.
January, which is nice. Okay, you'll be, yeah,
Hell
great.
yeah. Yeah, but thank you, Tomi, for this conversation. It's so great to be able to have you. Third member of Amorphis on. So I got half of the band, hoping to get everybody at some point. It's just any final words you want to say to the viewers that are watching this to close us out?
Well, thanks for this interview, and check out the new album. and hope you like it. And if you got a show near you, come to the show and support every band who's touring there. It's important, especially nowadays with digital revolution of music. So take care, everyone, and thanks for the interview.
Awesome. So everybody, Tomi Koivusaari from Amorphis, and we'll see you next time.